up, rise and shine. It's a brand new day with Mona News. It's time to have your say. She's got the scoop, the stories, all the latest trends. Mo's got the news, let's hear it. My dear friends, from politics to showbiz, no story's too small. Mo covers it all. She's got the inside call, her voice so smooth, like honey in the summer sun. With Mo on the mic, you know the news is always fun. Mornings with Mo, the best newsy news in the world. With her style so classic and her stories unfurled, from morning till night, she's got us in the know. Turn on your radio, let Mo's newsy news flow.
Good morning, everyone. It is August the 6th, and well, we have two stories that involve nose clams. And well, what is this timeline? Welcome, everyone. Good morning, Christine and Wolfram. Thank you for doing all of the mod stuff. Good morning, Brenda and Captain Kern. And you guys check out Captain Kern's YouTube channel. He talks about all the things, and he's really smart about printing out those plastic, using a 3D printer. We do not want to see what Mo would make on a 3D printer, mostly because I wouldn't make anything. Good morning, Fun Diane and Jedi Jess. So our first story, the Secret Service, continuing their record hit of awesomeness, says that they disposed of the powdered sugar they found in the White House after reports of infighting and a DNA hit. Well, she did a wonderful job, didn't she? What a dingus. Good morning, Terry. The Secret Service said Monday that it had disposed of the nose booger sugar found last year at the White House, responding to a report about alleged infighting on its fate following a partial DNA match. I wonder who that partially DNA matched to. I guess the world will never know. Good morning, Slinky. The evidence from that investigation was disposed of in accordance to retention policies. Anthony Guglielmi, the Secret Service spokesperson, said in an email, while Guglielmi did not state the specific retention policy, it was broadly dismissed false allegations outlined by a trio of sources to Real Clear Politics, which reported that President Biden's then Security Service Director, Kimberly Cheadle, wanted to destroy the evidence, but faced internal opposition. Cheadle was, quote unquote, really pissed off when her request was rebuffed by subordinates who cited protocols requiring evidence to be retained for 7 years. Two sources outside the outlet told that Cheadle, or someone speaking at her, called the agency's forensic division vault supervisor, Matt White, and asked him to dispose of the evidence because leadership wanted to close the case. So the Secret Service is batting 1,000 or maybe 10. I don't know what's really good and what's really bad. Sports ball. So there you go. Now, those three sources also connected to the Secret Service told Real Clear Politics that DNA had been recovered from the bag, allowing a partial hit in a national database after the baggie was found on July 2nd, 2 days after a gathering of the Biden family. The Secret Service closed its investigations just 11 days after the baggie was found without interviewing any potential suspects. That seems totally normal. I mean, why would you look for suspects? It's not like there was a crime or anything. DNA, meh. I mean, who really uses DNA in crime anymore? So passé. Oh, well, because that should probably be her name. Wasn't she security head of PepsiCo. Doesn't PepsiCo own Cheetos? So technically, she did guard Cheetos before. Cheetle guarded Cheetos, or at least Doritos. Daggone YouTube, what are we going to do? So it is unclear exactly when the agency destroyed the evidence, the loss of which the article claims only probably set the owner back $100. Uh, and there's not clear whether there was any follow up with the DNA, but God bless you, bureaucracy. Way to go. There's no crime here if we don't ask suspects. In other news, while Hurricane Debbie did blow in a lot of water, apparently it blew in a lot of blow too. I mean, this headline, why not? Hurricane Debbie blows at least $1 million worth of White House dust, if you will, onto a Florida beach. Because why not? Good night, nurse. More than $1 million worth of cocaine washed up on a beach in the Florida Keys after Hurricane Debbie battered the Gulf Coast's Big Bend Monday morning, officials said. Debbie made landfall as a Category 1 hurricane early in the morning and carried more than 24 70-pound packages of cocaine ashore as winds topped 80 miles per hour, U.S. Border Patrol said. Well, I mean, Debbie was like, look, I'm bringing a lot of rain, but I bring you gifts. An offering for the Florida Keys. It was they were trying to get that to the treehouse. Briggs shared a photo of the taped up bricks of White House dust, which featured glowing red triangular symbols on them. He said that amount would surpass at least $1 million in street. I'm not reading that, but possibly. In all seriousness, I have dealt with someone who struggled with addiction and lost their fight with it. And I generally don't speak out about other YouTube creators because I'm not a drama channel, but I do hope that he makes a positive change. And that's all I'll say about it because I'm not the most unbiased person out there. A beach goer discovered the drugs wrapped in plastic trash bags among seaweed, leaves, and other debris that washed up on the beach. Well, I mean, it's just a small little. Why am I seeing super troopers here? Super troopers, standing in front and doing kind of like the "we did a good job" pose. Uh, I'm just throwing that out there. Florida Keys Police, if you would like to do that. The man contacted authorities about the washed up stash after he took a brick, allegedly in Minecraft. I'm just joking. They were all accounted for. He's like, look, I have kids that need to go to college, people. In June, a beachgoer scouring North Florida beaches for sea turtle nests instead stumbled upon $4 million worth of White House dust. The discovery stunned law enforcement, who said it's rare for, the dust to make it to Nassau County, which is further north than they usually wash up. I mean, is this like a failed by sea delivery program? Or, I mean, I guess they must have boats that like pick it up in the ocean generally, but okay, y'all. There you go. Go beach combing at the Florida coast. You never know what you'll find. Meanwhile, Debbie, which has since been downgraded to a tropical storm, is expected to bring punishing rains and flooding as it makes its way north from Florida to Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina. If you are in any of those areas, I hope you are staying safe and you have, a shelter. Be safe. Don't try to drive through standing water. I always tell my girls, but I'm telling you because I'm momming the entire internet. But you are all in my thoughts and prayers for whatever that means for you as the world's worst Christians. To stay safe. English is the thing, and be okay. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has declared a state of emergency in 61 counties across the state as more than 2,740,000 households have lost power. At least four people, unfortunately, have lost their lives in this storm, including heartbreakingly, a 13-year-old boy who was under a tree as it collapsed onto his family's home. So, absolutely devastating and heartbreaking for those that lost their loved ones. And I can't imagine the loss of a 13-year-old or anyone in my family due to a storm. So, my heart goes out to them. Um, on what in the world is this timeline? But an update to a story last night. RFK, Teddy Bear's worst enemy will not be charged after he admitted to a prank of leaving a dead bear cub in Central Park. I mean, I would think that he would get in trouble just for the amount of resources that were used to try to figure out where the hell this bear came from. But I guess if you're a Kennedy, I mean, Lake Chappaquidda, anyone? Robert F. Kennedy will not face charges for dumping a bear cub carcass in New York's iconic Central Park in 2014. The New York State Department of Environmental Conservation told UPI in a statement Monday that the statute of limitations for such an offense is only a year, and therefore the charges in the matter cannot be applied. The bear had been discovered by a woman in the fall of 2014 and made headlines. Questions were raised over how the carcass ended up in the iconic park in bushes under a bicycle. Yeah, but okay, I get that, but there is nothing that the state likes more than recouping money spent to try to do public service. So you think they'd at least fine him or raise his taxes for a couple years. I don't know. But I mean, when he was telling the story to Roseanne as a chuckle fest, he was like, yeah, there were helicopters and 20 police. I mean, I know this is shocking, but I think New York needs, so, Captain Kern, the story that RFK told was that he was driving up to go falcon hunting. I guess hunting with a falcon and not hunting falcons. I don't know. I've never been falconing before. I know you're shocked. But he saw a woman in front of him strike this bear cub, and he decided, you know what? I could use some bear meat. And I guess in rural parts of New York, you're allowed to get tags for roadkill meat, basically. Indiana does the same thing with like freshly unalived deer. You can sign up to be on a list and, they'll let you take the meat and freeze it. So he decided I'd like a bear, and I'll use the meat and have a bearskin rug or something. I don't know. Put it in his trunk, went falconing instead of taking it to, I don't know, a freezer or something. That was his line. Okay, the Kennedys have always been weird. I don't know. Look, having grown up with a grandma who had a picture of Scary Jesus and JFK, next to each other, right next to the Sacred Heart of Mary. I mean, I think I have been exposed enough to the Kennedys to realize, no, they're all weird. Anywho, he got done falconing and realized, hey, I don't have time to go home and field dress and process this meat. You know what would be a chuckle fest? Let's put it in Central Park. The story is one long Quaalude trip that I think, between the brain slug, the goat picture, and the bear, if he doesn't switch out as Kristi Noem as his VP, I don't know what's going on. I don't think they eat the falcon. I think the falcon hunts I don't know. Like I said, it's not like I'm from medieval Europe and have ever been falconing. Neither have I ever played polo or croquet. But who knows? So there you go, JFK. What animal will he admit to putting in other places next? I can't, y'all. Oh, Captain Kern, thank you for the knowledge. I did not know, but apparently they had a great day. He just couldn't go home and field dress a bear. I, you guys, I have no idea. In a sad update, and possibly the only thing that this man did with kindness is not making everyone have to go through a freaking trial to discuss his absolute dumpster fire actions. I'm going to need the nuclear team that's in charge of Lord Chippy to go ahead and, you know, assemble, please, Lord Chippy attendants. Quote, "This will be my last good meal. Father went fishing, coached third base, and listened to, quote, happy in hell before unaliving his three sons with a force multiplier," prosecutors reveal. Nanny Go, I couldn't watch it. I thought I was going to cover it, but y'all would have just seen me crying. That's all you would have seen, because my little boys look exactly like this, a bunch of toe-headed, stair-step little boys. And yeah, it wouldn't have been good. Days after Chad Dorman admitted to unaliving his three sons, and was sentenced to spend the rest of his life in prison without parole, Ohio prosecutors held a press conference revealing shocking additional evidence in the case of their own once called one of their own once called the quote unquote worst crime he's ever seen. There is now a clearer picture of what the adjudicated 33-year-old unaliver said and did in the days before he just destroyed his family. Claremont County Prosecutor Attorney Mark Tekluv began his presentation by revealing that several days before the unaliving, Dorman took his sons, Clayton 7, Hunter 4, and Chase 3. And you wonderful, sweet little boys, you did not deserve this. And I hope you are in heaven, getting all the hugs and cuddles up there that you deserved. And I don't know why this happened, and I wish I did. He took them out for a boys' day at a dirt racing track and also went fishing with them. Then, days before the murders, he woke up his 14-year-old stepdaughter Alexis in the morning and apologized to her for anything he had ever done to hurt her, an incident that was described as highly unusual. That night, he coached third base at his son Clayton's baseball game. Finally, on the day of June 15th, 2023, the unalivings, Dorman searched YouTube for the song Happy in Hell, and at lunch that afternoon, he got home from work early and told his then-wife, Laura Dorman, that, quote, "This will be my last good meal," end quote. All the while, Tekluv said nothing seemed amiss or abnormal at work, and Dorman, an insulator union member, would give conflicting statements about whether he really had trouble sleeping in the lead up to the horrific crimes. Though he told his mother he was having some confusing feelings, she didn't call Laura or 911 or a crisis hotline, the prosecutor said. Instead, she suggested he go to the Little Clinic inside Kroger in Claremont County. And when he went to Kroger on that fateful June 15th, 2023 day, after leaving work around 9:30 a.m., it seemed from a video played on Monday that no one was at the desk. In any event, it was not the right place to go for feelings you may be having psychologically. And anyone out there, if you are struggling, if you are dealing with something big like this, like you are having terrible thoughts, there are places. Call a crisis hotline. Don't do something irrevocable. There are places you can go, people you can talk to. Yeah, I would have looked at my husband really weird. And if my 14-year-old would have come to me and said, "Why is, my stepdad doing all of this?" And welcome, Shizzy Raiders. The video showed Dorman walking into Kroger wearing the same clothes he was wearing when he was arrested. He walked through the vitamin aisle, folded his arms, and looked at the products, but didn't take anything off the shelves. Yeah, ginkgo biloba is not going to help you. Maybe a good, source of lithium. On his way home, he picked up a 16-ounce can of Bud Light. Well, there's a problem. After he got back to the Laura Lindell Road residence, his family returned from running some errands. His sons were happy to see him and they played together. Then, while eating lunch prepared by Laura, Chad said, "This will be my last good meal," which she worried was a self deletion statement, according to this account. Prosecutors said that evidence showed that Chad Dorman called his father and said, quote, "Clayton is going to be the hardest," end quote. Dorman even read the Bible to Hunter, muttered to himself, quote, "Chad knows what's right," and told his sons around 4 p.m. that he loved them and they did nothing wrong. When the family went to the bedroom for an afternoon nap, Chad jumped out of bed, grabbed a force multiplier, and in this moment, Laura believed he was going to self delete. Chad grabbed Laura's phone when she tried to call 911 and told her, quote, "It's too late," end quote. A short time later, prosecutors played distressing audio of Laura screaming for help during a 911 call, and shots can be heard in the background. The dispatcher on the other end of the line repeatedly told her to calm down. Okay, can we all admit that, look, there are some awesome, and I have a story about an awesome 911 dispatcher that just kicked butt and took names. But some of these 911 dispatchers, especially the one in the Josh Powell case, some of these people are insufferable. Insufferable. And I understand you have to get, knowledge, you have to warn first responders, but people don't call 911 when they're having a good day. And especially if you hear force multipliers in the background, just to shoot, I would just think that it would be standard operating procedure to assume ish is going down. But I could be wrong. Not understanding what was happening, body cam video from that day showed Dorman waiting on the front step for deputies to show up at the residence and arrest him, and the force multiplier was right next to him. When Claremont County Sheriff's deputies responded to the scene, took Dorman to the ground and placed him in handcuffs while he was face down, one of the deputies asked, "What are you doing, man?" Dorman turned his head and said, "Can I roll over? I ain't gonna hurt ya. I ain't gonna hurt nobody." After being asked again what was going on, Dorman replied, "Nothing. Can I stand up? It's kind of uncomfortable." Reason number 807,023 that I am not a cop. I don't hurt kids around me. It is not. You are going to see Mo's inner honey badger, which may be more like an inner, rat terrier, but still it's Mr. Mo's going to have to hold me back as I'm doing the cartwheel motion, Don't do that. Video recorded after Dorman was taken into custody showed him banging his head against the wall. Though prosecutors had initially pursued the DP in the case based on evidence of planning and severity of the crimes and the confession, Common Pleas Judge Richard P. Frennick ruled in March that the quote-unquote full admission Dorman made in custody had to be suppressed because some dill-hole detective forgot how to read Miranda rights. You have a card. And he was like, "I don't have the card, but I'm pretty sure I got it memorized." Get the daggone card. Anywho, I'm still ragey about that. I am ragey about that because how can you screw up in such a case where now we can't get what I would think? Look, I know Steve Gosney is against the death penalty, and I'm kind of iffy about letting the government do anything. But in cases like this, I'm kind of like, meh, I'm okay with it. I do wonder if there was some psychosis, and I wonder what the family truly saw. I wonder, I haven't listened to it. I tried to get into this case because I felt like these boys needed, their story told, but I realized it was just going to turn into rumble rants of Mo cursing and thinking of inventive equivalent punishments. Thereafter, Dorman shifted his defense strategy to plead not guilty by reason of insanity and mental illness. The defense said he was in a state of psychosis on the day of the murders. Now, that actually might have worked because except that he did seem to know that he had done something wrong as he quietly sat down on the porch and waited for police. That is an admission that you know you've done something wrong. Now, his docileness, I don't know. I, I wish to hell that sometimes evil had a reason, but sometimes evil is just evil. Sometimes there is no answer that we can ever get other than evil's gonna evil. Months later, Dorman pled guilty to the aggravated murder and felonious assault charges, the latter two crimes for wounding Laura Dorman with, the force multiplier as she tried to save her children, and for an attack on Alexis, his stepdaughter, who was watching TV in the living room when he began his rampage. After addressing the evidence from ahead the shooting on Monday, prosecutors reiterated their view that Dorman knew that what he was doing during, before, and after the unalivings. By way of example, prosecutors said that 12 days after the unalivings, during a jailhouse visit with his brother, Dorman compared himself to the Austrian painter from 1933. As in, that man made global news, so did he, and he did not express remorse. Get better heroes, dude. What the hell? He wasn't even a great landscape artist. I mean, what is wrong with you? Whilst with the support of the surviving victims, the state and defense reached a plea agreement that took the death penalty off the table in exchange for life without parole, also putting an end to the defendant's quote unquote serious mental illness claims. Laura Dorman said on Friday that she and her children, quote, went through a nightmare that most people can't even begin to imagine. We grieve every day for my boys and we would miss them so much. And I hope that the community and her family is just supporting her. I cannot imagine the hole in your heart that you have to live with. And if you have a surviving child, so you can't just curl up in a ball and, wait till you just go to sleep and go to heaven. You have to survive. You have to be there and present for those other children. And to a lesser extent, I know that how that is. And it's a path I never would hope anyone would have to walk. Look, y'all, I'm usually more of a table flipping Jesus person, if you ask me. And if allegedly someone comes along with a little bit of gen pop justice in Minecraft, allegedly in Pac-Man, I'm afraid all of my F's are in this jar and I'm not going to be opening it for this douche, okay? In a change of pace, well, this scammerton didn't seem to think his entire operation out. An MTA worker sliced his own hand, then lied about being slashed on the subway in a desperate bid to, quote, have the summer off. I mean, it was a bold strategy, Cotton. Didn't quite work out for him. This has been ESPN The Ocho. This MTA worker tried to take his bosses for a ride. The transit system cleaner was apparently so desperate for a vacation, he lied about getting attacked on the job, going so far as to cut his own hands to try to sell the ruse, according to prosecutors. Quote, my goal was to have the summer off because it's too hot down there. Henry Herring, 54, allegedly told investigators after the hoax was exposed. I kind of want to side with him on the lack of air conditioning because I am not a hot person. I am incredibly sorry, Captain Kern, and I can only tell you that your story and sharing it makes those stories not seem as so much like numbers. There are real people behind this, and I think your bravery in sharing your daughter's story and your path gives people an insight to how these crimes leave such a hole. And I think sometimes we think, okay, this person's sentenced, it's done, but it's never done. It's something you live with. It's a package you carry around. It's a weight. And I think you coming out and talking about that really, really reminds us of all of us of why we watch these trials, because there are so many people destroyed by some of these acts. And the justice, the hurt, the pain doesn't end when the gavel drops. And I think that's incredibly powerful and incredibly brave to share. So thank you, Captain Kern. Uh, Now, this man did not happen to win his summer off in the way he thought. Herring, who was hired as a transit cleaner last year, has since been suspended without pay by the MTA and was arrested on a charge of falsely reporting an incident last week. You know what? If you would like, we can get together and we can do a stream. I don't know what you're comfortable talking about, and this might not be the forum, but I will let you tell your story if you'd like, or if you'd like to be on your stream and just have moral support, I am here for it. But I think that's incredibly brave of you to do. So, yeah, he ended up going to jail for summer. It's a jail summer for him and not a vacation summer for him. Moral of the story is the subways have cameras. Don't do shenanigans. Now, for a 911 operator that, kicked butt and took names, this 911 operator calmly walked an expectant mom through a surprise home delivery. Now, I don't know that I could even do that, and I've had 6 children, but all with the help of epidurals. No shame in my game. When a 911 call came in saying a woman in Nashville was experiencing sudden labor, emergency operator Caitlin Kramer says her training kicked in and she successfully coached the expectant mom and bystanders through delivering a healthy baby boy. Audio of the July 7th call reveals Kramer's calm voice guiding the process even as voices on the other end grew frantic as the mother's water broke and the head started crowning. That's what we call go time. Kramer is a training officer for the Nashville Department of Emergency Communications. Whenever the call comes in, you have to be able to maintain control, Kramer said, adding that she had to remember to stay calm herself. We're going to do this together, Kramer told a friend of the mother's over the phone. Moments later, the caller is yelling with excitement that the baby had arrived, but mentioned that the cord was wrapped around his neck. Kramer said bystanders were able to free the baby, and soon enough, Kramer could hear his first wails over the phone. When I think of the baby being firstborn, the biggest thing for me is I want to hear them cry, said Kramer, and then he did that on his own. The whole call lasted about 8 minutes before the ambulance arrived, and Kramer got to congratulate the mother and bystanders on a job well done. I mean, imagine her that story, your birth story. Well, I was on the living room floor and you just could not wait one doggone minute. Now, as a mom, I will tell you that this will be brought up in mom guilting. Like, you want new Nikes? I was there on that floor. That carpet stain right there is where your big old head came out. And you want some brand new Nikes? Do you not even know what I did for you? I'm not saying that I might have told, my son with the largest head, like, son, some days you are testing me. uh, I think my favorite part about this whole situation is that there was another younger child in the room, maybe between the ages of 7 and 10 years old, Kramer said. She started talking to the baby, welcoming him into the world, and it absolutely just melted my heart. Kate Kramer said this is the second time she's helped during a delivery over a 911 hotline. Quote, we get a lot of sad here. Our job is hard, Kramer said. This is one of the reasons that reminded me that what I do is important. It just makes me happy to do what I do. Oh my goodness. Our fire chief delivered a baby on the lawn of the fire department a few years ago. Ambulance never showed up because our county sucks. Well, I understand that. She drove to the fire department, pulled the emergency handle. The fire chief, who lives 2 doors down, ran up and saw it and delivered the baby on the lawn. Yeah, so I will tell you that after my first child, I was told that I deliver babies quite easily. Apparently, I picked the profession suited to my hips. these hips don't lie. Uh, and I was told, to tell the nurses as soon as I felt anything. And why do you always get the student nurse? There is nothing more confidence building than when you're, kind of, well, immobile on a bed with stirrups and you've got a student nurse doing one of these things like, I don't know how far you are. I'm like, get your supervisor. It's the only time that I have ever turned into a Karen, and I apologized deeply after our second child was born. But I was like, go get your supervisor and have her tell you where I am, because I'm pretty sure this baby's out. I felt so bad. I was much more, direct and Karen-y than I've ever been in my entire life. But that's a good story, and since this will be a shorter show because we do in fact, I am sending you over to the Sarah Boone hearing. We have it. We are going to do it this, today. No clickbait promises. Uh, let's see here. And, Jelly Roll might be my new favorite person. I like his, bluesy style, I like it, but Jelly Roll paused a Michigan concert to help a cancer survivor using an IV drip find a better seat. Quote, "We'll get you off your feet, baby, okay?" The musician told a fan, during a recent show. Jelly Roll stopped one of his recent concerts to offer a hand to a committed fan. Last month, the Son of a Sinner musician 39 was performing at the Tailgates and Tallboy Country Music Festival in Midland, Michigan, where he spotted a fan standing up in the crowd while using an IV drip. In a video captured by fans and shared on TikTok, the country star, whose real name is Jason DeFord, could be seen stopping the show to address the fan from the stage. Quote, "I've seen a lot of crazy S at my show, but this young lady is out here with a full-blown IV," he said, speaking with the fan who told the musician that she is a cancer survivor. Then offering accommodations, Jelly addressed his team and said, "Let's get her a chair. Someone on my team, let's get her somewhere more comfortable to watch the rest of the show. We'll get you off your feet, okay?" He continued. In the comments sections of the TikTok post, fans complimented both the singer and the committed fan who made the trip to the music festival. "Aw, as a cancer survivor, I love this," one fan wrote. "She had to be so weak, but she's there. I couldn't have done it when I was in treatment." "He is the most wholesome artist out there," another fan said in a comment, with another writing, "He's a class act." The recent interaction isn't the first time that the Need a Favor singer has gone out of his way to help a fan of his with cancer. Last year, the James Best Foundation, an organization that helps to grant wishes of adults dying with terminal illness, detailed a wish of a 65-year-old woman who had been diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. According to Taste of Country, local outlet WSMV and Southern Living, the woman named Suzanne Durham shared a TikTok for the foundation that said her final dream was to meet Jelly and see him perform live. After the video was posted in July, the musician's wife, Bunny XO, commented on the post, "We can definitely make it happen." Soon after, Jelly and his wife organized a meetup with Durham, who, like Jelly, had been candid about her previous struggles with addiction and had since turned to helping those struggling with addiction. In her hometown of Nashville, she organized a show for herself and her friends at a local church. Video captured from the event showed the musician and the cancer patient meeting for the first time with a hug, as well as Jelly playing some of his songs for her. Quote, "I'm glad I could come to visit you. This is cool. I'm glad you've had some friends come too," he said during the event. "Somebody who came out of the situation you came out of and turned her life around and immediately found purpose helping people who are in the same situation." I mean, I will say that Jelly Roll, when you look at him, he's kind of like Tom McDonald. When I first saw him, I was like, well, isn't that special? Isn't that special? Um, but he has turned out to be one of the real class acts, and his absolute takedown of all the senators on a C-SPAN when he was talking to the senators about addiction and the fentanyl problem, he was so real, so everyman, and he talked with such passion. I was blown away because I really hadn't ever, been exposed to him before. So I will say he has to be one of my favorite artists, and I really like his gritty kind of very blues, very raw sound. But that's just me. And who the hell ruled this Hillary Clinton news? A self-deletion ruling for a teacher with 20 perforation wounds may be re-examined as family secures potential major win. Now, I would think a self-deletion with 20 perforations might be a clue that something's a little hinky, but I'm not a policeologist, I guess. A pathologist controversial ruling that Ellen Greenberg, a 27-year-old Philadelphia woman whose death by 20 stab wounds was self-deletion, will receive a new review after Pennsylvania's Supreme Court agrees to hear arguments from her parents and their attorneys. The family learned that the court had agreed to hear the case on Tuesday. Greenberg's mom, Sandy Greenberg, told Fox News Digital, the court will examine whether the parents, as executors of her estate, have legal standing to challenge the medical examiner's finding. Last year, a panel of appellate court judges ruled against the parents' request to force the Philadelphia medical examiner to reclassify Greenberg's death from self-deletion to homicide or undetermined. The panel found that the parents lacked standing. But the judge also slammed the city, police, and medical examiner's office for the investigation. Greenberg's parents allege a cover-up and vowed to take their fight to the state Supreme Court, finally succeeding last week after outside experts warned them that they would face an uphill battle. Quote, we always wondered why we didn't have standing. Ellen's mother and father, her father, Dr. Joshua Greenberg, told Fox News Digital. We started it as a fight for Ellen, but we are fighting on standing and now the ability to challenge the medical examiner. Right now, the medical examiner's conclusion cannot be challenged. This is going to be a little bit graphic, but I will show you for the purposes of how the hell did they rule this. So these are all the wounds that she had on her body. Now, did she put... How did she Velcro the stabulator on the back to just do this? After Greenberg's death, a forensic pathologist with the city medical examiner's office named Dr. Marlon Osborne ruled it as a homicide according to court documents. Then he reversed course after meeting with the police behind closed doors and dubbed it a self-deletion. Greenberg was discovered dead in her kitchen on January 2011 with 20 stab wounds, including 10 from behind, at least one of which would have been inflicted after she was already passed away. According to court documents, her body was also covered in bruises in different stages of healing. Okay, Canton PD, did you do this? What in the... You have got to be absolutely flippin' unaliving kidding me. Investigators found a half-made fruit salad on the countertop and signs of a struggle, including the knife block that had been knocked over. There was evidence that the door lock had been tampered with and that her body had been moved, according to her parents' lawyer, Joe Pedraza. So these are her parents. And that the knives found at the scene had never been fingerprinted. The crime scene was cleaned up before detectives arrived with a search warrant, according to court documents, and the appellate court judges said that they had not been given any record of police interviews with the building's security guard or Greenberg's fiancé, who called 911 to report finding her slumped over in their apartment. But city police and prosecutors have repeatedly insisted that the death was a self-deletion. They never talk about the big gash to Ellen's head, Dr. Greenberg said on Monday. They never talk about the restraint on the wrist or how she was restrained or how there's no defensive wounds. There's also missing video evidence, he said. This is such a bogus case, he said. It's a cluster. A lot of the evidence in the case deserves scrutiny, according to Pedraza and the family's investigator, Tom Brennan. Despite collapsing with nearly 2 dozen stab wounds in the blood-stained kitchen, Greenberg was found clutching a pristine white towel in her left hand. Dr. Cyril Wicht, a frame forensic pathologist who conducted an independent review of the autopsy, found evidence, quote, strongly suspicious of homicide. Well, welcome to the planet, Captain Obvious. Would you like a passport? Wecht, who died in May, previously told Fox News Digital that after looking at the forensic evidence, he believed it was highly unlikely that Greenberg could have self-deleted. No crap, Captain Kern. Or no, Captain Kern. I was thinking Captain Obvious, but then I was sorry, Captain Kern. Y'all are just like my kids. I'm gonna say everyone's name till I get to the one I want. Oh, and Crime Spies. Congratulations on the triplets graduating high school. Good job on them, and way to go, Mama. I know there were certain times, my daughter is a senior, and there were certain times that I was like, well, maybe we'll get spelling, or maybe she'll be she won't go to school. In all my years of experience and all the homicides that I've done and self-deletions, I've never seen anything like this, he said. Oh, other August babies. She's an August baby too. Okay, y'all, I'm going to tell you a secret and don't tell the entire world. But my mother-in-law at the time wanted my oldest to be born on her birthday. And she came out several days later, and I was like, I mean, I was still mad she was a week and a day late. It was the middle of freaking August, but she has her own independent birthday. Another highly respected forensic pathologist, Dr. Henry Lee, also reviewed the case, and he found the angles of the wounds on the back of Greenberg's head would have been difficult to inflict herself, and that her injuries were consistent with a homicide scene. The Chester County District Attorney's Office is conducting other outside investigation after the Philadelphia District Attorney Larry Krasner stepped away due to a conflict of interest, and former Attorney General Josh Shapiro, who is now the governor, was accused of having another conflict of interest. Dr. Osborne has since moved to Florida, where he works in the Palm Beach County Medical Examiner's Office. How does this man get another job? I mean, again, this has all the hallmarks of an Arkanside. I mean, unless this man is working directly with Hillary Clinton, what is wrong with some people? This is definitely a homicide, and I hope the parents get some news. And I really don't understand how the heck they think. I guess I'm going to have to do a little more research into this case, because this is absolutely disgusting and a miscarriage of justice. But I am going to let you guys go a little early today. I will have to look that up, Jedzia. I am not super up to date on the Sandra Birchmore case. Well, that's what they call an Arkansas Clinton side, I guess. Arkansas sounds better. Clinton side sounds like something you take after you get the clap, if you ask me. But don't come to my door, Hillary Clinton. Anywho, I will see you guys in just a little bit. I am going to pop over, and we actually have the Sarah Boone hearing, so you will not be disappointed. No clickbait and tease. We've got the real thing today. Bye, you guys.